encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Yeah. Same fucking coffee, same day, same everything. Oh, good morning, you. How are you? Oh, allergies got me. Did you see that? It just came in and got me. Good morning, folks. It is, what the fuck day is it? Oh, he's already with the F-bombs already. It's Wednesday, July 27th. Almost August already. 2022. Yes, it is. Time flying by, isn't it? Are you watching it just fly by? And is your life changing day to day, or is every day running into it just feels like one day runs into another, same shit, different day? Anyway, good morning. I'm done complaining. No, I'm not. The heat wave has broke here in the Northeast. I say that, knock on wood. It's nice weather now. It's still hot, warm, very warm, very warm. I would like everybody to enjoy their cake, so enjoy your cake. Um, one of these days, folks. I'm morning, and you know me, I'm still half asleep here. Why I do these morning shows? Because I love you. That's why. Um, anyway, it is Wednesday, July 27th, 2022, and my guest co-host forgot that they arranged to be a guest co-host today. So I'm doing this by myself. I have a guest, Cody Swindell, who's a comedian out of Austin, appears to be a young fella who's been doing it not so long. And I think Cody Swindell might be a stage name based on his Facebook profile having a completely different name in the URL. But it should be interesting to talk to him and find out, his perspective on Austin. I think he's probably one of the people who moved to Austin for the comedy scene there. I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, and I'm not going to tell him that, but if he's listening, he already heard that. But I'm not doing it as advice. Just for me, moving someplace for the scene, whether it's a music scene, comedy scene, acting scene, film scene, whatever it is, make it happen where you are, and you could still live where you live and hit the road. I think that's the issue in making it in entertainment. You got to be willing to get in a van, drive across the country, hit every small town on the way, eat fish out of a can to survive, all that kind of stuff. That's what it really takes. Unfortunately, I mean, there are other ways to do it. It's not the only way. There's not just one path to success. Yeah. No, I know. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Dean. There is Kelly points out the Cole Swindell, who's a country singer, very similar name. He probably gets confused with him a lot if he's out there putting it. And people might be saying, "Well, what the hell is he doing comedy now? He's a singer." No, yeah, you got to be careful when you're picking stage names, I guess. Not to take something that's somebody who's already famous. Yeah, my stage name is Paul McCartney. Anyway, what the hell's going on? Now, lots going on. It's all politics and shit. And I know people are burnt out by politics, and a lot of people don't really care about what's going on in politics right now. But I think you should. I think we all should, because it's serious shit now. Car warranty guy's calling again. He died in the 60s. Yes, no, that's Fall Paul. I buried Paul. Paul is dead. We're looking at like some serious major transformation in America, uh, and America affects the rest of the world as far as just really losing our way of life. And people say that hyperbole a lot, like, oh, we lose democracy. We are really, if the fascists take power, and I'm not talking about just the Republican Party. I'm not labeling them all fascist. If the Trump faction of the Republican Party takes power again and gets to be able to redraw the lines to obliterate the opposition 100%, we're fucked. We're all fucked. And even the people who support that or think they support that, but don't really do a deep dive, are fucked. I've never been a two-party person. We have the two major parties in America, and most representative democracies have two parties. I hate that. I hate that we only have two parties. But there's something worse than a two-party system, and that's a one-party system. And that's what Trump is looking to achieve. He's looking at autocracy. He's looking to create an autocracy. He wants to make himself king. And he was back in Washington, D.C. yesterday. I'm not going to make this show all about Trump. But saying some things that he plans on doing if he gets, according to him, when he gets elected again. That should scare the shit out of everybody. But nobody's paying attention. And there was other Trump news in the making yesterday. Merrick Garland came out and he did an interview with Lester Holt, where he went a little bit further than he's gone previously, talking about he's going to hold everybody responsible for January 6th accountable. I don't think that he's going to. I think that's just talk. I think he's just buying himself time. I think he sees that I don't think he wants the job. He realizes he probably should not have taken on the AG job in this time. And who the fuck would want it, to be honest with you? But I don't think he wants to prosecute Trump. But the pressure is on. He's got to say something. Then a couple hours later, his department, the Department of Justice, put out a statement that said, they didn't put it out. It got leaked out somehow. Those leaks are a funny thing in Washington, D.C. That the Justice Department has already impaneled a grand jury investigating Trump, which, just makes Orange Hitler more and more nervous, ready to burn down. He wants to be Nero. But if he can't have it all, he wants to burn the country down to the ground. But and I won't go through everything that he's claiming he wants to do right now. But they want to redraw lines for voting lines. So basically, they want to make it so that there is only one party, that the Democratic Party, the opposition to Trump and anything that Trump wants to do, is eliminated. He wants to make himself king. And that's a scary fucking thing, because he's talking about executing drug dealers and drug users. Like his own son. I wonder if he'd execute Don Jr., crack pipe Don. Definitely would execute Hunter Biden. I think most people would. But you can think about that. You don't know anybody who does drugs. You think anybody who does drugs should be, and you think your drug dealers should be executed, put to death for supplying people what they want. demand is part of the equation. And if there wasn't such demand for it, the war on drugs has been a failure. But executing people selling drugs is madness. It's fucking madness. And I say this as somebody who's lost a son to addiction. You don't execute low-level dealers. You just don't. Now, if you want to say, the drug traffickers, the cartels, you want to execute those people, that's a whole different fucking story. But that's not what Trump was advocating for yesterday. That's not his plan. Fucking scared. I'm scared for America. I'm scared for the way, and I'm not going to be here people say, why are you so fucking morbid all the time? The odds are very good that I won't live to see most of the carnage. And I don't say that being morbid. I say that from a place of reality where most of my friends are dead. Most of the people I grew up with, most of the people I hung out with, almost all of them are dead. I have very few people who've been part of my life for a long time who survived. And I was thinking about the numbers again last night of all the people. I could call Ralphie right now. We could go through names of people we lost, and it wouldn't stop. It would be just a show of me naming people that my friends who have died young, 50s and 60s, in the last 10 years. So the odds are I won't be here to see the carnage, but I am scared for the world and for the country, for people in general. It's a fucking scary time to be alive and looking at how people are just taking this so nonchalantly. We have, and this is not hyperbole, we have a Hitler-esque guy who's just running amok, can do whatever he wants, including incite people to overthrow an election and kill people and call for the murder of his own vice president. Cheer them on. Not face any consequences. It's fucked up. It makes you happy that you're not going to live much longer. It's the kind of shit that makes you happy. Now, I know I'm in a fucking downer mood today, and I'm sorry about that. But I pay attention to what's going on in the world, and what's going on in the world is pretty fucked up. Now, in LAX, they had a massive outbreak of COVID among TSA workers. I think 400 people came down with COVID in the last couple of days. COVID's not going away. It's part of the reality that we live with now. And, every time I go out, I'm in a supermarket. And was it yesterday? Yeah, I was at the supermarket yesterday. People wearing masks. Some people wearing masks. And a lot of people wearing masks. And I'm thinking, what COVID did was, for me, never realized how many germaphobes there are. How how many people are just really scared of germs. I'm not downplaying COVID. When I got COVID most recently, it was awful. It was awful. It's something you don't want to get, but I don't live in fear of it. I think living in fear of it every day and kind of always being nervous that you're going to get infected is probably as bad as that disease was. And I realize 1 million people died from it. But living in fear is just as bad as dying, in my opinion, in my humble or not so humble opinion sometimes. But it exposed the amount of germaphobes that we have, the sheer number of germaphobes that we have in America. But here's the thing now, and as I mentioned, COVID is because new strains are coming, and you hear people want to claim that, well, if we would have gotten out in front of this and hit it head on when we first found out about it, things would be very different. We don't know that for a fact. We can assume that, we can guess that, we can hypothesize that. We don't know. Bottom line is, the disease is evolving and new strains are coming out, and we can't keep up with them. It's going to be around. It's going to be like the flu, or, and I don't mean in severity or any of that stuff. I mean in the commonplace of it. It's never going to go away. We're not going to eradicate coronavirus. Sorry to say that, but one of the worst pieces of fallout from what we went through with this whole COVID thing is that a lot of people who got COVID and had mild symptoms have been conditioned now to not take the government seriously, not take the CDC seriously, not take the WHO seriously. They're against all these organizations. They think they're all just trying to control us. The conspiracy theories of, they're trying to affect us. They're trying to put chips in us. They're trying to control the population or depopulate the planet. All these conspiracy theories and the distrust for all these agencies, distrust for your own doctor. This is what COVID has brought us. And so when we see new viruses, we're going to see, and we're already seeing, people not taking new viruses or the next virus very seriously. Now, monkeypox, we have a worldwide outbreak of monkeypox. It's not a pandemic yet. It's spreading. And a lot of people aren't taking that seriously, which is why it's spreading. But they're not taking it seriously because what we just went through, COVID, and they're just the distrust of doctors, distrust of science, distrust of anything with any authority. We don't believe it. And so it's spreading. And the coverage of the monkeypox thing is really, really irresponsible. Now, I'm sorry to be such a fucking downer this morning. I'm not doing this. Isn't very funny. I realize that, and we are on the Governor's Comedy Network. And when Cody Swindell here comes in, we will try to lighten it up and make it funny. But for me, I'm talking about this, and I apologize if it's boring you or it's scaring you or it's too much of a downer for you. In the 1980s, if you lived through the 1980s, if you're old enough to live and be an adult and remember the 1980s and the AIDS scare, the coverage of that was really irresponsible, and it led to some really, really ugly behavior in humanity. They covered it as if it was only a gay person's disease. And they covered it not only as if it was only a gay person's disease, but as the gays that were responsible for bringing this plague upon humanity. They did cover it that way, which resulted in lynchings and a lot of gay killings, killing innocent gay people, bullying certainly, a lot of really, really ugly behavior. We're seeing that with monkeypox again. There was a story in a major, I think it might have been the Washington Post. Don't quote me on that. It was a major, I'll look it up. They said about cases of monkeypox, and several of them were children, all, and in the headline said all contracted it through contact with gay people, gay men. You don't think that's going to result, if that kind of headline and that kind of coverage is going to result in gay men getting the Matthew Shepard treatment, dragged behind a truck, killed. Mark my words, you can't stigmatize a group of people and say they are responsible. We kind of saw that with COVID a little bit with the Asians. Asians saw a lot of backlash Yeah, because you had the president of the United States calling it the China flu. Can't marginalize people and blame them for a disease. But that's what's going on with monkeypox, and people are taking monkeypox too lightly. Now, there is a new virus. Of course, there's a new virus. There's always a new virus. Well, listen, when I was in pathology, one of the assignments Dr. Miller gave me was to um, do a film, put together a film on how viruses work, research project, how viruses mutate, and how some of them are actually good for mankind and for the planet, and how some of them can be really, really, really bad, and some of them can threaten humanity itself. There's always new viruses. Almost every day, there's a new virus created on planet Earth. It's you wonder like how that people who get religious and think of creation. How is that part of God's plan? You're talking, and that's a whole. And I'm getting religious and politics here. It's bad enough I was on politics, but for those people who believe that God created everything, He also created a whole lot of viruses and new ones every day, and some of them are really bad. And in Ghana, there's a bug called the Marburg virus. And the Marburg virus is kind of like Ebola, except there's no treatment, there's no vaccines, there's no cure, there's nothing you can do about it. If you get it, it's got to run its course, and running its course could be up to 88% fatality. This is a virus that can spread pretty quickly. It's still pretty much contained in Africa, but for now, and we've seen how things can go across the globe pretty quickly with COVID. It started in Asia and was here within a month. It was on our shores within a month, and then it was everywhere in America within a couple of weeks from that. So Marburg virus in Ghana is in Africa right now. And again, we put all these together. How COVID has conditioned us to be soft on this shit, to not care about, to distrust the health services, to distrust the government, to distrust doctors, to distrust science, the WHO, CDC, all of it. Distrust for everything. We have that. And then we have new viruses come along, and the human nature is to say, treat it just like fucking more COVID bullshit. Not a good place to be. Not a good place to be. So hopefully nobody poo-poos this idea of this Marburg virus, because listen, monkeypox, and I've made fun of monkeypox only because Alex Jones was so fucking stupid about what he was saying about it. Systematic monkeypox, gay monkeypox. Alex Jones is a fucking piece of work, and I'll get to him in a minute. But just hopefully that people take the Marburg virus seriously, even though it's a world away right now. It could be on our back door tomorrow. Anyway, I'm gonna go over and check the chat room. We're in a bad place, is what I'm saying. You got the Trump virus, the Donald Trump still infecting the minds of cult members throughout the United States. People who just can't think for or care. They just want to keep the immigrants out and make everything back to 1950. Yeah, let's put everybody in their place. Women in the kitchen, blacks on the food train line or on the service industry, but make all black people blue collar workers. Put the women in the kitchen, take away their right to vote. No abortion, no sex, no gay sex, no gay marriage, none of that stuff. Well, put the world back the way it was in 1950. Leave it to Beaver. That's what we want to do. Those people can't see Trump for who he is. He's a fucking danger to humanity. He's Hitler, Nero, Napoleon, all of that rolled into one ball of stupid Adderall taking, slovenly, all 7 deadly sins wrapped into one fucking fat mass of fucking goo. That's what Donald Trump is. That's what he is. So we have that virus. We're still dealing with coronavirus. We got monkeypox spreading and Marburg threatening. Good morning. Happy now? Let me go check the chat room. I woke up on the right side of the bed, I guess, right? Kelly's here. Good morning, Kelly. I think I said a good morning to you already. Good morning, Dean. Do you think who will spend the day in jail? Trump? No. I think. Listen, Hitler had. The question on the table is: do I think Trump will spend a day in jail? I do not. I think he deserves to be. I do think he deserves to be executed. Treason. I think that's the penalty for treason. I don't think that will happen. I think he will skate. Hitler had a lucky charm. He had a way of avoiding people trying to kill him. Bombs going, people setting bombs off. You know all about all the attempts to take Hitler's life. All the, and he did spend 5 years in jail. Hitler did, but that worked for him to help build up his cult, I think. But I think Trump has the same dark guardian angel. It's all. I know that's magical thinking, but I can't imagine. He's got the best luck for staying. He's been committing crimes in public his entire life and skating on it. Atrocious crime. He admitted. He admitted that he bought the Miss America pageant. He admitted this on the radio to go stalk naked 15 and 14-year-old girls and go walk in and perv on them. No backlash. To grab him by the pussy tape. To making fun of Serge Kovaleski. Oh, that's fine. Are you kidding me? A grown man making fun of disabled people, just running for president, and everybody. So what? I mean, if you look at all the things he's done, as far as all going back to his real crimes. I mean, the criminal history, going back to the 1980s, early 1980s, and never ever was held accountable for anything. And he's done some really egregious stuff over his life. Anyway, so no, I don't think he will ever spend a second in jail. No, never mind a day in jail. Kevin is with us. Good morning, Kevin. I bet you Kevin's got some shit to say. Oh, I want to, because somebody, I think I saw Kevin, and Kevin, if I'm misstating this, you can correct me. On Twitter, somebody asked teachers what they would take off their plate for the upcoming year, and I think Kevin's answer was COVID, and that's where I was thinking of COVID this morning, and the viruses and where we've been with this stuff and why. So COVID's going to be here, and teachers in every industry is going to have to deal with it. Like I said, the LAX, they had 400 TSA workers. How much is that going to impact air travel coming in and out of Los Angeles, and how much is that going to make a fourth wave, however many waves we got now? I don't think you're going to take that, but part of that was the idea that COVID off your plate. No, it's just going to be replaced with the next virus. Monkeypox is here. Hey, here we come. Hey, with a monkeypox. I'm sorry. Good morning. 3 miles and back. Oh, Anyway, from what are we looking at? Kevin talking about from boat launch to dam and back was first person in the entire lake today. I thought you were back home. You still on vacation? You can't bring me down, dog. I'm already vaxxed against smallpox, so I'm good with monkeypox. But what about Marburg? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? And I'm not sure the smallpox vaccine works against monkeypox. So I mean, the SARS vaccine is what ended up being the COVID vaccine, and we see how ineffective that is at really preventing or really even doing anything. Really, I mean, I was vaxxed, boosted, still got it. I got it worse after I got vaccinated. Far worse. So happy to be here. I'm sure that's a sarcasm. Good morning, Michael. Anyway, hey, you asked me for a wish. I'm going to give you a wish. Yeah, no, I get it. That's the wish, but it's just going to be refreshing. I don't know, refreshing the audience's mind here. The wish Kevin made was that COVID would be taken off his plate. All I'm saying is, yeah, it could be, but it's not probably not highly unlikely. And even if it is, just to replace with something else. It well, I don't know. You're saying it does. I'm not going to put that out there as fact. Um, I'd have to do a little more research on that, but um, I take it that that's your belief. I've had smallpox 3 times thanks to United States Air Force. I'm not sure that it's that closely related to it. I mean, again, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to say like I know because I don't know. Anyway, the issue really is it's not a good outlook for. And I started this by saying I know a lot of people. Kat mentioned the other day she really doesn't care about politics because people feel powerless, like we can't control it anyway. Well, what's sitting back and doing nothing, people who not caring about this stuff, is what's going to get us Orange, Hitler, Nero, Napoleon back in power. And once he gets back, all gloves are off. Everything changes. Everything becomes America's worst nightmare because now he can do the authoritative things he always wanted to do, and we're already in that. We're already in a deep phase of that kind of stuff with his Supreme Court appointees really just saying 1950. We want it to be 1950. Think of how casually we went back. We put the clock back 50 years on abortion rights. Something that we lived with for 50 years was accepted by people as the law of the land, erased like that by Supreme Court extremists. Now, it's funny because people did not hear me saying that. I definitely come across as a far left wing person saying that, but it's not. That's the problem. It was generally accepted by people in the middle, people on the right. All Roe v. Wade was accepted by both sides until the extremists on the right brought everything so far right that if you're the old center right now, people call you a left-wing extremist. If you were riding down the middle of the street, all of a sudden you were on the far left, because that's how far right we've become. And that's where political apathy has gotten us. A little more of it is going to send us all to hell. And again, I'm not going to be here. Odds are I'm not going to be here. Now, it's possible I could live another 20 years, which would really fuck me up. Because then I'd have to live through it. And I promise you, if anybody's going to the bottom of the totem pole in the new regime, the new far right extreme United States of America, it's going to be me. The guy who's going to be cast into the pit of fire first, me, or among the group in the first. I'm a dissident. I'm on a list. I'm on several lists as being a guy, with a big fucking mouth and speaking against the king. Boomers ruined everything. Now you're being an ageist. You're being an ageist. Boomers ruined everything, and now they want to die to escape. Go figure. No, I reject that. I think many people from all sorts of ages have the greatest generation is still with us, the World War II people. There are millennials. Listen, part of the news yesterday was ABC News being threatened with a lawsuit because they called the Turning Point convention in Florida Nazis. Now, who are the Turning Point people? Teenagers. And ABC called them Nazis for good reasons. They had Nazi flags there and SS flags. These are children, not boomers, not even millennials. They're whatever the next generation letter is. They're all over. I mean, and most of the people, so the ageism and the groupism, that doesn't work for me. There's people from every age group that are involved and supportive of all the anti-progressive movements. It's a really strange thing when you see teenagers wanting to set the clock back to 1950 because they have no idea what it was really like in 1950. And we could, the whole "Make America Great Again." That's because when it first came out, when Trump started first doing that, I started questioning people. Like, give me a specific. Give me the year when you say "Make America Great Again." What period are you talking about? And that's the 1950s and early 60s. That is the idea of the boomer generation. When the boomers were kids, children, that's the generation that people want to talk about. But we're not talking. You're questioning boomers about that. Where it's coming from is people who never saw those years. People who never lived through them. It's Yeah, the suit will go nowhere. I agree with that. Kevin saying the suit will go nowhere, the ABC suit. I agree with that. But the point I was making is those Nazis, and they are Nazis. Those Nazis were not boomers. They were children. They're teenagers. They're high school kids. Nazis. See that text from that girl who was the leader of the whole thing about how she hates black people, all of them? They can all go to hell. They had people with Nazi flags there. They were talking about Nazi agenda. Teenagers. That's the point. Not that the ABC called them Nazis and is getting or being threatened with a lawsuit over it. That's not the point. Who the fuck cares if ABC gets sued? The point is they were accurate in calling them Nazis, and they're not They're not boomers by any stretch of the imagination. Have a new sponsor today. Well, not a new sponsor today. New sponsor this week. And the new sponsor is Daily High Club. And I could use to get high right now. I tell you that. I bummed myself out with this fucking talk. This is why I need a guest host. Because if I listen to myself talk, I'll fucking commit suicide. I'm a downer. Clearly, I'm a very down. Well, tonight, Scarlett Parretta will be my guest. We're going to talk about all things paranormal. She's a psychic medium. Psychics never come in large or small. They only come in medium. But I've talked about the psychic stuff so much that I just want to open it up to everything in the paranormal scope of things. And so that's what we'll be talking about tonight. New sponsor this week is Daily High Club. And as I mentioned, I could use to get high right now. Daily High Club. Get the #1 stoner subscription box. Use it. The link is in the description, or you can just go to Daily High Club and use the promo code MINDDOG, MINDDOG. Get the #1 stoner subscription box. You can see what's in there. It's just a ton of. Every month you get these cool box full of papers and bongs and vape pens and lighters and all the things a good pothead could need until the new government comes in and takes it all away and puts you in jail and wants to execute you for it. But until then, you can become a member of the Daily High Club, and then you get put on a list of people who should be executed. Oh. Did I make myself laugh and cough at the same time? Anyway, become a member and get a massive box of badass smoking supplies delivered to your door each month. It's $100 value for only $29.99. What's in there? Well, you get not your average bong. You get your essential smoking gear, mind-blowing add-ons, and you get all these kind of different themed boxes that they come out with. Now, they've collaborated with some of the best people in the stoner world, including Snoop Dogg. I finally see who Chanel West Coast is. I see her. I still don't know. I guess she's an influencer of some sort, stoner girl. Raw Josh, aka Raw and Rock and Roll. I don't know him. This guy, Be Real. I've seen him around. Tommy Chong, of course, we know Tommy, and Corolla and McDizzle. I guess these are all weed influencers in the world. So the link is in the description, as I mentioned. Please check them out, Daily High Club, if you're so inclined. Are you inclined to get Daily High? I'm inclined to get Daily High. Yes, it's good coffee. Looking at what Kevin says. Kevin, we still have. Maybe it's me. Maybe you put it out, but I still haven't seen any of the drone footage that you shot. Interested in that. I was looking through my hard drives and I have hard drives and hard drives full of crap that I will never get into an editing reel. But I was on the very much into drones starting in around 2011, right through about, I'd say 2015. Lots of drone stuff, lots of drone footage. It wasn't a very competent, and I'm sure you being a pilot are good at it, but I wasn't the best drone pilot at all. But still managed to get some really cool footage. And things have improved since then. Now the drones I was using at the time, they had 2 cameras on them. Most of the drones I was using, and so the front position camera got the front view, and then one underneath. Different resolutions for both. I got to take a sip. I'm gonna cough. Excuse me. But I know drones have improved, and I'm just curious of what you're using. What's the latest state of the art, state of the technology for drones these days? 4K, people shooting 4K. How long do you get? Because I remember Oh, battery length was because those lithium batteries only hold a charge. I believe it was 20 minutes, but even the cards and the length of shooting time you would get. No, don't quote me on this, but I'm thinking it was like 7 minutes, maybe 11 minutes, possibly towards the end, 15 minutes, but very not long range stuff. Stabilization on the images was always a tricky thing, especially if you're up in high winds and stuff. So if you could share with me some info about what the latest state of the art, technology, and all that stuff. Usually better off spending that on actually what you want instead of sub boxes. And I've done drone boxes, hiking boxes, men's boxes. Don't be bad mouthing my sponsor, dude. Um, Rob Dydick in the Fantasy Factory, and she was on a video review show with Rob. Oh, that's Chanel West Coast. Uh, it all uh, it all it takes is stick time. Anybody can get good at it. What the well, yeah, it's like saying anybody could be a good driver. Yeah, anybody can play guitar. Yeah, but there are people who are just real. You know what? Uh, Video gamers, people who are used to video games, are going to be better at it than people who are not. Self-built FPV drones can stay up 20 to 30 minutes with lithium-ion packs made for it, but those aren't made for large throttle pulls like freestyle. So 20 to 30 minutes, that's not a whole big increase from the time when I was doing it. And that's not terrible. But for my purposes and what I was looking to do, which was aerial concert footage and stuff like that, it's difficult. You got to recharge or send up a new pack, bring it down, and re-battery it up, and then put it back up. That could and how quick is that changeover? If you wanted to do some kind of that kind of stuff. Good morning, Budgie. See Budgie's in there. Uh, nowadays, if you use a nowadays if you use a GoPro, they record gyro data with the video data, and then in post processing, it uses gyro data to smooth the footage from uh, something like real steady go. Wow, that's cool. Did not know that. That's new information. And one more comment here from Kevin. You could start my type of drone flying on a simulator nowadays. I like that nowadays. Yeah, you sure you're not a boomer? Nowadays is a boomer phrase. $100 radio and a computer, and you're flying. Wow. Yeah, I imagine they've gotten cheaper. I remember when I first started buying drones, they were probably $1,500 for a drone, and then I think I lost my first one within the first week because where I live, massive trees, massive high trees. I mean, there's a lot density of the trees, but they're also really tall trees. Some of these trees grow 250 feet up, and in a dense area, and so I was going up above the trees and trying to get over the beach, but then running out of power trying to bring it home, and it goes down in the trees. Once it goes down in the trees, you're fucked. In the forests of the North Shore of Long Island, there are probably two or three of my drones still sitting there, hanging in some tree somewhere. Really, probably. I'm surprised that well, not like the lithium. Once the lithium battery packs are dead and not a threat to anything, but when the things crashed, there was still some battery life in them. Surprised they didn't start some kind of fire or something. Kevin was saying for something like a crowd flyover, you'd want something like a cinema hoop with pop guards. You can't injure anyone. You know, I don't think I ever. I don't think that was a real concern because I I don't think I ever came close to injuring anybody or uh, because we flew high enough up, and the things were so light. I think even if it fell, well, I don't know. I don't know. What am I talking about? I don't know. Uh, my 5-inch HD quad would cost $650 to build today. Radio is $300. Goggles are $600, and batteries are now 15 to 25 each. Yeah, you're a hardcoreist, man. I was just thinking about like buying, those what is I don't even want to name the names of the drones, but the store bought already, in a box, do everything drone. The kinds that you can program the complete flight path and all that stuff. So you don't even have to pilot it. You can just uh I think I will name DJH, what is DJS? Is that one? And the Bebop Parrot stuff, where you just write out the flight path on your iPad, tell it exactly where you want it to go, the altitude and all that stuff, and then return home when it's done. That's what I wanted to do, especially for the concert stuff. So you could say, fly over the stage twice, do the whole arena twice, come down, go one over the stage, whatever, that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm looking to do. I mean, I'm not doing mountains and lakes and all that kind of stuff. Now, I have gone over the sound quite a bit, and that makes me nervous because it's like if it starts running out, do I have enough juice to get back to the shore before everything runs out? What's the screen name? What? It's in his screen name if you don't think he was an expert. What is in his screen name? Oh, the FPV? No, I knew he was an expert in that stuff. I didn't, but again, it seems like he's uh, not reinventing the wheel, building his own Tesla rather than going to the store and just buying an off the shelf Tesla and spending more than I think because I think the prices for all those consumer drones that do what I said they do, basically you can just tell them, just fly here, fly there, come back home. Um, those have become a lot cheaper. I'm gonna have to look this stuff up on my own because it seems like Kevin is more of a Tesla and a Marconi when I just need a guy who knows how to turn on the radio. Good morning, William. Hey, William, if you want to pop in, and promote what you got. I know you got something coming up this weekend on the 30th. This weekend, you want to pop in? Let me know. I'll send you a link over on Facebook. You can come in, talk about that. We can uh, promo that. I have no guest co-host here today, so if you want to come in quickly and talk about that stuff. Uh, Glad to have you. Anyway, coming up in about 10 minutes or so, Cody Swindell, a young comedian in Austin, Texas, home of the young comedians. Okay, let's do that. Let me send him a link really quick. Bear with me while I talk and try to do things at the same time, which I'm not good at trying to talk and do things at the same time. See, I can't do that. I can't talk and do things at the same time. There you are. Getting a lot of private messages over there too. What the hell's going on? Okay, just sent. Now, on the rocks, is this the one? On the rocks, comedy showcase, presented featured comedian Skylar. Let's see, put this up here. Skylar. Featured comedians are Skylar Bulks, William Conway, just called Will Conway, and Preston Williams. hosted by Preston Williams. And that is 320 Broadway Avenue, Valley Springs, South Dakota, SD. That's where William will be this Saturday night. It's Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday night. Look at William. Trying to look like Dean with the hat here. Looking like Dean with the hat there. What?
Oh, hang on. Oh, I'm such a. There we go. I fixed it, I think. How's it going, man?
It's going. I don't care how it's going, just as long as it is.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. As long as it keeps going, that's the whole point, right?
Yeah. How's
you
your
don't
week?
Want it to stop.
Yeah. How's your week been? You been all right? You've been
my week has been stressful trying to figure everything out for getting back to South Dakota and everything. Because as you know, like my car has been broken down and everything. So I've been, I was focusing a lot of my time and energy on promoting the show in Sioux Falls because Friday we have the dope show at the Icon in Sioux Falls, and so I put a lot of time, money, and energy into that, and I wasn't able to fix my car. And so here I am promoting the show that I almost wasn't able to get to. I bought a bus ticket yesterday, so I'm going on tour, and I'm taking a tour bus, but it's Greyhound.
Now I'm really shocked. I shouldn't be, but because the last time I rode a Greyhound bus was 1980. And I used to drive them a lot, but I'm surprised they're still in business. Like people still take the bus places. This is how clueless I am. I've never even seen one out on the highway. When I'm driving out on the interstate, I don't see any Greyhound or Trailways.
Well, okay, so what Greyhound did to survive was actually really, really smart. They started basically subcontracting these smaller bus lines like Jefferson lines and like I think there's like a Prairie Lines or something like that. And so not every bus is a Greyhound bus. Like if you see like a Jefferson Lines bus or something like that, that's probably still a Greyhound trip, but they're just using other companies.
Yeah,
So
I don't see any of them. Maybe because I'm not looking. Like, now that we're talking about it, I think the next time I go on an interstate anywhere, I'll probably see about 10 or 15 of them. But it's just been out of my consciousness because I never traveled that way since 1980. Now from Grants, New Mexico to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. How long is that on a bus
it's
ride?
1,000 miles. Like it's 1,000 miles, and for Greyhound, this is actually not bad for a Greyhound trip. It's really only, I think the drive time when you do it on Google Maps is like 17 hours, and I'm gonna get there in like 19 or 20, I think 21 or something like that.
Wow,
maybe 23 hours.
So minimal stops, right? Minimal
Greyhound.
stops. You're stopping like every time you get to a major city, you stop for maybe 10 minutes or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Most of your stops, like I think I have like 5 stops that are 10 or 15 minutes, and then I have 1 stop that's an hour.
And you get off during that hour, right? You can get off and go have
dinner.
Or something.
You have to.
Yeah. It's been a while, man. I'm telling. 1980 was I think I rode from Portales to New Mexico to Buffalo, New York on one, and it was fucking.
Yeah, no, I've taken Greyhound from the Midwest to California and from the Midwest to North Carolina. So and then back for both of those trips.
So the show you got coming up on Saturday night. I see that your build is Will, not William.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I prefer my billings to be as William, but I don't. I feel like it's pretentious to bitch about those kind of things. So you generally won't find me complaining that or asking somebody to correct that because I mean, to me, it's just not a big enough deal to raise a fuss about.
Yeah, I get it. I would be the same way, but kind of been preaching this to other comedians lately, so I feel like I have to be consistent in branding.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I do prefer William by far. But what it is like in my personal life, people call me Will all the time. And so as I develop these relationships and get to know these comics, they just kind of think of me as Will Conway and not William, you know?
Yeah. But branding is important, because I've had like, and at least your branding on all your pages is comedy, Conway comedy, or
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and that's consistent. But we see and people having, Paul P was Peter's Parker's. I was like, you know what? How are people supposed to know that's the same person? In today's world, we have so many. Like the guy who's going to be on today is Cody Swindell, and I don't even think that's his real name. And there is a country singer, Cole Swindell, who's awfully close to that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he just texted me, by the way, saying probably showing on the screen right now. Computer is having trouble accessing devices. It's restarting now. Anyway, so this show, it's three comics. That's the total from test. So are you doing an hour? It's 7 to 10, and you got three comics on the show. Are you doing a whole hour?
Are you talking about On the Rocks on Saturday?
Yeah.
You know what? I never. This is a funny thing about me, Matt. I never ask how long they want me to do.
That's important.
I don't ask, and I'll tell you why. You want to know why? Because I can do whatever you want me to do, so I don't need to ask. And because I have a lot of jokes, and I have written jokes. I have jokes that I ad-libbed or whatever, but they're all in the Rolodex. I go up there with a general idea, but I'm not a solid set in stone comedian. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, whatever kind of time they want from me, I'll give it to them.
Yeah, but do you not even know, like, when you're getting on stage, you don't know how long you're going to be there for? So
no. I usually ask when I get there.
Okay.
And then I spend, because I like to show up to gigs early. I like to show up like half hour, 45 minutes early, talk with the promoters, and kind of watch the crowd come in. And then as I'm usually in the back watching the crowd come in. As I watch the crowd come in, I'm looking at people that I might possibly want to point out during my set. I'm paying attention to where they sit, because then I can locate them when I'm on stage. You know what I mean? Like last night I went to an open mic, and there was a girl who had a little foxtail on her purse. And I was like, oh, I definitely want to say something about that foxtail. And so when I got up there, I was like, hey, I noticed there was a girl in here that had a foxtail on her purse. And she's very excited. She was like, oh, that's me. I was like, yeah, that's really cute. Reminds me of the one that my wife has on her butt plug, And really, I shouldn't call it her butt plug. It's really our butt plug. You know what I mean?
Well, one of my sponsors from time to time, she's a sponsor, but she's not on a lot of shows these days because she's enticeme.com is a butt plug seller. What she sells is non-toxic butt plugs. Do you know that most butt plugs are made from the same materials that they banned from children's toys, toxic materials, toxic chemicals and stuff. So
I did not know that. I did not know that.
So I should make her a sponsor again on some shows, because what she sells is a complete line of non-toxic butt plugs to make sure you're using the safest butt plugs, dildos, all that kind of stuff, because they are made from the same stuff that they banned from children's toys for being too toxic.
Yeah, I was not aware of that at all.
I know. Well, I did that one when Tommy Chong was first on the program. I had to read the sponsorship, and it basically the ad was like, "What's in your butthole?" Like you take on Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Awesome.
Yeah. So maybe we could get you on as a sponsorship for your tour, and you can do some butt plug jokes.
For Friday, I should tell you this, for Friday's show, the Dope Show at the Icon in Sioux Falls, one of my sponsors for that show is Soul Pole Studios, which is a pole dancing studio. And I'm going to have 3 pole dancers do a demonstration at the show on Friday night. That's going to be awesome.
Wow.
Plus we got the hip hop and everything. It's going to be a banging show.
That's so they only sell poles for pole dancing, or they teach classes? What
they teach classes? Yeah, they teach pole dancing classes. It's Soul Pole Studios, and they teach pole dancing. And I really kind of took a shot in the dark with an old friend that I knew had a business, and she had a massage business before, and now she has a pole dancing studio. And so I asked her if she wanted to sponsor the show, and she was like, "Well, I don't want to sponsor it as the massage shop. I would like to sponsor it for Soul Pole Studios." And like she started talking about doing a demonstration and stuff. And so I contacted the venue immediately because I was like, if I can get a girl on a pole at my show, I'm doing that. You know what I mean?
Like, I hear you.
like there's no way I'm passing this opportunity. That's not happening.
All right. The Dope Show is Friday, July 29th, which is 2 days from now. 8:30 to close. Don't say what close is. $15 at the door. Comedy hip hop extravaganza hosted by William Conway, featuring Danielle Moore, headliner Preston Williams, who's also on the show the next night.
Me and Preston, all 3 shows that I'm doing back in the Midwest are with Preston Williams. He's a great comic. He's very similar to me. He's a storyteller. He's just got banana stories, and he really keeps the crowd going.
Get me his contact. I want to put him on the show.
Yeah, definitely. We should definitely have him on for sure.
Yeah. Now I'm surprised. My guest Cody Swindell is in the back, but it looks like his camera's not on. He's having some difficulty, so we could get him in audio. Device is not connected. He's having some technical challenges. But I'm surprised that there is a consumer base that is big enough in places like Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for pole dancing classes and buying pole dancing. Should I be shocked? Because it's a relatively small city, right? Do you know population numbers?
Okay, this is how I'm going to answer that. To you, yes, it is a very small city. To Midwesterners, it's the biggest city in the area.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to understand that Sioux Falls is the biggest town for probably 4 hours.
No, I understand that because in New Mexico, I remember a lot of people in Albuquerque thinking that was a big city, and I was like, you know what? In Long Island, that's a town. Town. It's just a town in a string of towns. As a matter of fact, the town I grew up in, town of Babylon, Long Island, is big. It's still bigger than Albuquerque, and it's not the biggest town on Long Island.
One thing I'll say is that Sioux Falls is an interesting town because while the state is very red and very Republican, the city of Sioux Falls is actually very liberal, very progressive, and they're very into the performing arts, like any kind of performing arts. They have a huge network of stuff, so it really doesn't surprise me to see that kind of stuff. Plus, we do have a strip club also. So, I mean, that helps.
I've never been there, but I think that I have to go. Now, character-wise, does it feel like the West when you're there? Does it? Because you go to town like Durango, Colorado, and you just feel like you're in the old West, and that that kind of stuff. What's the character like in Sioux Falls? Is it?
No. In my opinion, the character is this is the character of Sioux Falls. It is a Midwest town doing its best to be a big city.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Like they've done a lot to really round out what you can do there. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff to do there. They have the Washington Pavilion. They have like a butterfly house and stuff like that. They have tons of trails. They have miles and miles of bike trails and stuff like that that go all around the Sioux River. They have, like I said, a lot of performing arts. They have the sculpture walk downtown. I mean, oh, and like they just got a Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's, I think we've covered this before. I've never been there before, but my impression of them is like a Chuck E. Cheese for grown-ups.
It is. It's a grown person's Chuck E. Cheese for sure, and it's awesome. It's amazing. Like you can spend a check in there if you're not careful.
Yeah, I could see that. And they allow drinks in there, right? You can drink while you're playing the game.
You can order food. It's a full service bar, restaurant, all that kind of stuff.
So are you a South Dakotan in your heart, or are you a New Mexican in your heart, or still a?
Well, it's actually, so here's the thing. I was born and raised in Iowa.
Iowa, right?
Yeah, so I'm really an Iowan at heart. Like I'm Hawkeye through and through, black and gold. You know, I love that. I grew up in a high school that was like my hometown was basically like the high school version of the Hawkeyes. We were the E-Hawks. Our colors were black and gold. So I'm really all about Iowa. I love Iowa a lot. But Iowa and South Dakota have some kind of weird rivalry. You know, like they hate each other for some reason, and like it's funny. Like if I would actually do a lot better comedically in South Dakota if I just made fun of Iowa more. But that's my home state, so I won't do.
That's really weird. I've never heard of anybody hating on Iowa. I mean,
know, it's really kind of easy because it has nothing. No, build something, will you? You know what I mean?
Like, well, if you build it, they will come. That's why they don't build it, because they don't want anybody coming. But the whole thing about Iowa is from Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Dude, so, you know, they're having a game. Do you know having a game like August 12th or whatever?
Yeah. And they're going to have like a major league game there, right?
Yeah.
Is it the Yankees? No.
I think the Phillies are, you know, now I want to look it up. I can't remember.
Me too.
I can't remember who the teams are. But yeah, it's coming up here in August, which I would love to go to that. That would be so cool.
They should do that every year, as far as I'm concerned.
I think so too. I think they should have a major league game there every year. That would be great. And I think it should be free. You know what I mean? I think one game out of the year and like first come, first serve on the seating. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like just not even, you know, because like that's the way it was in the movie. They just drove up and filed in. You know what I mean?
Right. I was going to talk about that because in the movie, James Earl Jones talks about his character, and I forget what his character's name. Terrence Mann calls Daddy. Yeah. Funny that Terrence Mann is the main character in. He was the actor who played the main character in Cats on Broadway. Terrence Mann is dancer and Broadway actor, and they named him after James Earl Jones' character after that, who's supposed to be a J.D. Salinger. But what he says is, when he says, you know, people will come to Iowa, Ray. They will come to Iowa for its peace they lack, and they will gladly hand over their money because money means nothing to them, and they're looking for the peace and they're looking for the baseball game. So not make it free, make it pay what you want to pay what you can afford to pay. Those, because a lot of people are doing that now online for art and like albums and stuff like that. It's a pay what you can afford. If you can't afford to pay anything, just take it and download it. But pay what you can afford to pay, which is an interesting model because it actually works and people make good profit on that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I saw a comedy show that had to pay like it was a minimum of $1. Like you had to give at least $1, but it was just pay whatever you want. You know, right. And I think that's not necessarily. I've never done a show like that, but I'm not opposed to it because. Who knows? You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, a couple people might just throw in $1, but you might have someone who throws in a 20 or even a whole note on you. You know what I mean? You don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking we got to get you recorded, brother. Because if you could record these two shows, this weekend, and it looks like you're going to be doing quite a bit of time on stage in both shows. We could get them both recorded, edited, and put out something on Spotify and set you up with a pay what you can afford to pay. You'll make some money off of that stuff.
Yeah,
I'll edit
no,
it for you. All we
that's
got
a
to do is get
solid
it
point.
recorded.
And I've definitely gotten criticism about not having any albums available.
Yeah. And it's pretty much an easy thing to do. I mean, you could stick your phone in your pocket while you
I think what's preventing me so far is I record almost all my sets. I record almost everything I do, and I listen back to it. And I think that the reason I haven't put anything out is there's not anything that I'm wholly happy with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
there's always one or
in.
two aspects that I felt could have been better, and so I go, okay, I don't want to put that out.
Yeah, well, that's where editing comes in. Jackie, when Jackie did his first album, basically this is what it was. He took the good parts and just like faded out at the end. Like if you're getting to a part where you're not happy with it, just keep that one gem in there, and that's enough for people. And it works. I mean, I've been thinking about this lately too. Is you want to make sure it's quality, but in the editing stuff, sometimes we're not the best judge. You'll hear it back and you'll be like, man, I'm not happy with that piece. But if you played it for people who are fans of yours and people who like your work, to them, wow, that was fucking killer, man. That was killer, the whole bit. So I understand wanting to say, you know what, that wasn't my best stuff. That's not what I want to put out there. But I don't think sometimes we're the best judge of that.
Right. No, my wife would probably be the first to tell you that I'm super overcritical. Like I demand I have a pretty high bar for my performances, and when I don't hit that, even on one joke, it really upsets me sometimes. I mean, I have a short memory, and I just say, okay, you got to work on that or whatever. Like I don't like get down on myself about it, but in the immediate, I'm pretty unforgiving with myself.
Yeah. I saw Carlin when he was on. Carlin used to do Letterman a lot in the early days when Letterman had his late night on NBC, and Carlin was trying out. He was just developing his football versus baseball bit, and he went out to do a 7-minute piece on Letterman, just doing stand-up, and he got through. He was going through the football thing, and he made a mistake. In football, he's supposed to say in baseball, and he said in football, I mean in baseball, and he went right in the middle of his act, like pissed at himself, and then but totally like got past it and just went back into memory mode, like it was that momentary. Fuck! I fucked it up, and it was a hobby. And you don't see Colin do that in his career.
Yeah.
You look through it, but just how quickly he moved past it and said, "It's a fuck up." You work. That's what you're here to do. Work it out on live television. Well, not live, but you know what I mean. Like, so yeah, nah. You know what? You can't be too hard on yourself. It doesn't look like my guest Cody Swindell is going to be. He just sent me another text. He can't get his phone, or he can't get his camera and audio working.
Oh,
so it's a good thing you stopped in, because I would have been just talking about Trump still, probably, or COVID. Dude, or
did you see I did a political meme this week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think if we're gonna go to hell in a handbasket, I think Vince McMahon should be the orchestrator of chaos.
Yeah, I saw that you did that. But here's the thing. Here's what you probably forgot about, or might have never known about. Trump used to be friends with Vince McMahon. You know that?
Yeah, I know that. They had a rivalry on WWE, and they developed friendship through that.
Yeah, and they had a match, and
the hair match.
Trump beat him, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Vince McMahon is not the guy. He can't beat Trump. I don't know. Maybe just be more of what Trump is. You know what? I feel like, and I said that at the time that Trump started running, I felt like he was going to turn politics into
a circus,
professional wrestling. Yeah, like
right. Yeah. What are you doing? Good job. You know what I mean? Like it's a shit show.
What are you doing? You're rolling something? You eating something? What were you doing there?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. We were kind of haphazard with me getting on the show, and I'm really itching to spark this bull, bro.
No, not a problem. I get it.
I didn't know I was worried about it because I didn't know if I was allowed to in the current moment. You know.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. This is live television, working without a net. The guests can't connect, and it is what it is. But yeah, I was on a downer, big time downer this morning with people. I mean, the first hour before you got on was just me doom and gloom for the future of what we're looking at.
I mean, I was doom and gloom yesterday because like I was having all sorts of issues because my friend set up that GoFundMe so that I could have travel money, but then it was processing. It takes like 3 to 5 days to process or whatever. So I'm still waiting on that one. So I was tripping because I was like, dude, I need to buy this bus ticket today. You know what I mean? And so yesterday at about 11, 12 o'clock, I'm like, dude, I've spent all this time, money, and energy promoting these shows back in the Midwest, and I'm not even gonna fucking get there. You know what I mean?
Wow!
I literally was beside myself. Like, what the fuck did I just do to my life? You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, you know what? What ended up happening, Matt, is I found out I'm not as straight as I thought. Because yesterday at about 11 o'clock, I thought to myself, you know, I would suck a dick for a bus ticket right now. You know what
I mean? Don't get me started on that stuff because I got into an argument with somebody about. I'm
just like, oh man, God, I love it.
I love that. I'm not as straight as I thought. Somebody, you know, I got in trouble for comparing. Here's the thing. Andy Richter, who used to be on Conan, was all of a sudden bashing Norm Macdonald as a homophobe and saying because he didn't like the jokes that Norm made a lot of jokes about being gay or homosexual, and he kind of used Andy Richter as the butt of those jokes a lot of times. And so now Andy Richter laughed at that. He was part of it all along. And then after Norm's dead now, he comes out and he's bashing Norm for that, saying, I was really uncomfortable by all that stuff. I didn't know how to explain it to my gay friends and my gay relatives. I mean, so what's the point of the joke? That you're gay? Why is that funny? And I was like, and I had a conversation with a comedian friend about this, saying, you're ruining fucking comedy. Fucking to say you can't laugh at anything. Well, you know, gay is part of the human condition. People are gay, and gay people I know laugh at jokes that are about gay stuff. I mean, it's silly and it's funny, and people don't get offended by it. If you really are worried about what your gay friends and gay family think about it, talk to them. I guarantee they're not as offended as you think they are, if they're offended at all. And I went back to Don Rickles. Don Rickles made fun of everybody, but everybody loved him. His fan base, he made fun of black people all the time, black stereotypes. His greatest fan base were black people. I remember Denzel Washington hanging out in an interview longer than he should have because he just wanted to meet Don Rickles, wanted to introduce him to his son backstage and all this stuff. And there's a guy who is very tuned into black issues, who is not offended by a comedian. So I was like, you got to learn to laugh at yourself first of all. And I made the mistake of saying,
excuse me.
Are you worried about like veganism? Is it okay to make a joke about vegans? Because are you worried about how all vegans are going to be?
For the most part, I don't worry about it. I do a joke about my family going to a buffet. This is probably the only joke that I've changed in reference to political correctness. Because I did a joke about going to my whole family showing up at a buffet, and I used to make it a Chinese buffet, and I would do an impression of the manager when the family busts in the door and the manager just starts freaking out. He's calling like a backup cook and everything. And I would do a Chinese impression when I did that. And I had a club owner talk to me after the show saying how he thought that that was offensive and that I shouldn't do a Chinese impression. He said a lot of people are getting heat for that, and I might want to be aware of it. And so I just changed it to Golden Corral is where we go for the buffet now. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, if I'm gonna have people, because here's my thing. You want to know why I won't say that stuff? Because I don't want your stupid ass saying something to me about it. Right, I'm gonna get so fucking mad at the motherfucker who comes in my face and talks to me about that stupid shit, because those are not the real problems in our society. And people like you blowing it up and making it look like those are the real problems of our society are the real fucking problem. You're never going to get to the solutions of what is actually fucking wrong because you're too busy worrying about this frill stuff over here. You know what I mean?
And my point, I guess, is that the people getting upset about that aren't even the Chinese people. If you talk,
it's always some third party. Some unaffected third party. It's stupid.
Yeah. In my Chinese restaurant up here in where I live, there isn't one Chinese person there. It's so fucked up. It's a young girl at the counter is a young girl with huge, young, very attractive young girl with huge titties. And so
nice.
Yeah, but she's a white girl. I am long blonde hair and huge titties. So, and the entire Chinese restaurant is just filled with white people. So it's a weird thing. But yeah, no, that whole political correctness stuff and the fact that the mistake I made with the Andy Richter argument was I compared it to veganism. And somebody said, well, that just shows what a bigot you are, because veganism is a choice and gay people are born that way. And I know that's right. That's the accepted story on it. But what you just said made me, and I don't think gay people, I'm all for gay rights. I'm all for gay people being treated just the same as anybody else. But I don't think we're born that way. I think it's a choice you make, even though it's a subtle choice that you don't necessarily consciously make all the time. But I think we have history of people being married, gay people being married in a straight thing, forcing themselves to not only have sex with the opposite sex, but bear children. So they were obviously able to get stimulated enough to impregnate a woman, gay guys who live with women for 20 years in a marriage where they were kind of wearing a beard about it and being phony about who they really wanted to be. And at some point later decided, I'm going to be gay, because that's what I want to do. We have people who go to prison and engage in gay sex even though they were straight. So that's a decision you can make. You've had people on pirate ships who decide there's no women here, I'm going to be gay. I do think it's a choice, even if it's a choice people are not aware they made at a very young age. And I know I'll get in a lot of trouble for saying that, but I don't think we're born. And to your point where you said, I know that was a joke and it was a very good joke. I'm not as straight as I thought I would, because I would suck a dick right now to get this out there. That's fucking great stuff. But I do think on some level there's so much truth there that people say, well, do you think you could decide to be gay tomorrow? Yes, I do think I could, given if I had reason to. Sure, why not? I mean,
listen, I've known people that turn gay out of like they had a relationship or a series of relationships that were just so bad that it turned them off to the opposite sex entirely. And they literally made the decision, fuck it, I'm gonna try this way because obviously this shit ain't working. Right. You know what I mean? And like I've known at least 3 people that have done that.
Right. I know lots of people who identified as bi for their youth, from in their 20s and 30s, who after that just kind of became straight. They left the bi part of it in their past. So there is decisions to be made. Those are decisions that are made. So the idea, and I know, I'm going to get a whole bunch of hate mail on this, but I want it to be clear that I love gay people, and I think they should have the same dignity, the same rights, same everything that all the rest people who are not gay. But I just don't feel like that argument that they're born that way makes a whole lot of sense to me. Now, if that makes people hate me, that makes people hate me. But I will die believing that
Well,
it's
and
a
I
choice.
mean, so I think you can be born with tendencies for sure. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
there's a comedian friend of mine, named Jake Cox, who's straight as an arrow. He's and super good guy. He's a family man and everything like that. But he has a somewhat effeminate way about him. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like he gets comments and stuff like that all the time, and he's got jokes about it. He jokes about it, of course. You know what I mean? But like if people didn't know anything about that dude and had a 5-10 minute conversation, they would 100% think that he was gay upon leaving that conversation, probably
Right.
just
No.
because he has certain mannerisms or whatever that are seen as effeminate. So people think automatically that he's gay, but he's straight.
Like, lots of people like that.
Yeah.
And some of those guys, and this is what why this feeds into why I don't believe necessarily that we're born that way. That it is a decision, because some of those guys who I know who are really, really effeminate in their mannerisms are some of the best players and get more pussy than I ever did.
Oh yeah.
so,
Oh yeah.
so
Well, because most of those guys are more sensitive, more attentive.
right.
You know what I mean? And it's women see something, and women see a sensitivity in them that they don't see in most other men. You
Right.
know what I mean?
But so the natural, if we're taking it from a science point, we're saying, well, he must have been born with more Y chromosomes than X chromosome, whatever. We can think about that, but still, they're making the conscious choice. I like women, and applying it towards that. Now, it's not necessarily always conscious. It could be a subconscious choice. It's just like because of the way society brings us up. I had an uncle. I still have an uncle. He's gay, but he was married to a woman for 25 years, had children, the whole bit, because
The
society
social
made
construct. Yeah.
society made him decide to be straight. But at some point, he decided, "Fuck society! I'm going to do what I want to do. I like dick. I think I
Yeah.
like dick." Now that's a soundbite I could take out. I think I like dick, and people will
Well,
just use
and I
that
mean,
against me.
that's the other thing that we have to remember is that years ago, we didn't have all the names for it. We didn't know, nobody talked about it. You know what I mean? Like everybody was afraid to talk about it. So
We're
we didn't
still
know,
afraid to talk about it. We're still
huh?
afraid. Most people are still afraid to talk about it. We're having this
Right.
conversation
Yeah.
here, but
No. And we really need to get out of it, because I remember I grew up in a small Midwestern town with like 3 or 4 thousand people. And I'm telling you right now, and I don't know if we've discussed this before, but I was molested by my brother for like 2 years repeatedly. And I didn't know, you know, I was too young to understand about willingness, consent and not consent. The only thing I knew is that I had had sexual contact with a man, and I thought that made me gay. And so for a couple of years there, probably for about 3 years until I lost my virginity, I was terrified that I was going to be considered gay because the only sexual contact I had was with another man, and the only thing I knew is that was gay. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And I had no frame of reference. I had nobody there to help me through that time. And literally, like, that's probably why I was so sexually promiscuous when I was a teenager, is because I was doing everything I could to convince myself that I wasn't gay because I was terrified of it. I was absolutely terrified that I might be gay. And not
yeah,
because being gay was bad, but like in in my town, it was just not accepted.
Right.
That kind of thing was unacceptable in my community.
Yeah. I get it, and especially during that time because, and I was touching on this earlier in the program. When the AIDS virus hit, it was the news covered it, politics covered it, everybody covered it as a gay disease, and there was this attitude that gay people were responsible for bringing this
Right.
plague on humanity. And so we had a lot of backlash, a lot of like violent stuff against gay people at the time. Matthew Shepard is the classic case that everybody remembers, that dragged behind a pickup truck and tortured and like that kind of stuff. But there was a lot of that going on by the way the media covered this disease, calling it a gay disease. And so there was that led into, especially in Midwest and the West and all that stuff in the flyover states, there was a lot of paranoia about that stuff and a lot of backlash against gay people. That fed
Well,
into that as well, all that shit.
one thing I think this important, or I want to say, or this important to point out is that you know big cases, big examples like the Matthew Shepard case, or never underestimate the damage of those subtle hatreds. You know what I mean? Like those subtle hatred, like it doesn't, hate is not always dragging somebody behind a vehicle. Sometimes hate is not being included.
Right.
And sometimes hate, you know what I mean? Like people are hateful in a lot of ways, and some of those subtle, smaller ways are very damaging.
Yeah. It can be as simple as you can't come in my store. That kind
Yeah,
of thing. Yeah. All that.
it's terrible.
Yeah, no, and it's not good. It's not good. But I think, and this is, I started on a fucking total downer here today, but I do think we're facing a lot of that in America right now, and America leads the world in cultural stuff. People follow the culture for whatever reason. Everything starts here and spreads around the world now. Like, and so it's not. I'm not happy for it. Kevin accused me of being a boomer responsible for this stuff and now just wanting to die to get out of it. I don't want to die. Let me put this in context. I think I probably don't have much choice in the matter. I think I'll be dead within a few years, and not to see the doom and gloom that will be taking over the world. But I don't want to die. I would love to. I would love to live to maybe 85, 90. I don't know. Oh, I don't think
I
it's in the
mean,
cards.
I'll be honest with you. Man, I don't even know if I should say this because I'm gonna sound like a loon. So I don't even think about being like 60 and 70 and 80 and stuff like that. Mainly because I've had dreams where where I see like Armageddon type stuff. And I'm talking about like I've had repetitive dreams where I see this stuff over and over and over, and some of it has felt so incredibly real to me that I just think that stuff's going to happen sooner rather than later. And I don't even think about what 60 looks like because I truly in my heart don't believe that exists.
Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't poo-poo that stuff. Dreams are a fascinating thing, but because I've been having a lot of weird ones lately, and sometimes I don't even know how to fucking interpret them. I just know how I feel when I wake up, and when the feeling is not good a lot of times.
No, I get that.
Yeah, I can't. When I was a young man, I 60. Forget about it. That's not a realistic thing. I could never picture myself at 60. Now here I am. I'm like, how the fuck did I get here, man? But my point in thinking I don't have long for this world is everybody I was close with, except I have one close friend who I grew up with who's still alive. And we had a huge circle of close friends. Right. And they're all dead.
Yeah, no, I mean that's got to be concerning. That's definitely got to put morality on your mind, or mortality.
Yeah. And every week it seems like, Oh, did you hear? Oh, I even forgot he was still alive. Oh, he died. I just assumed he was dead. There's
Right.
my best friend who passed away last year. My partner, old partner, we used to do a duo together, Mad Dog and the Blues Man, when we were young people. The Blues Man, he came back into my life about 10 years ago, and he was here for a weekend, and I made a tape with him. We were doing some music in the studio, and I was watching the videotape, and all we're talking about in between songs is friends that we knew who were dead. And it's just funny, like, where every time we would bring up somebody from the old days, he goes, "Oh, by the way, he's dead." Like, yeah, just figured everybody's dead. Like, and so I was thinking about that, missing him, just watching this tape and realizing everything we're talking about on the tape is people who had died before him. So he died last year. I mean, if I so and people think, why I get this a lot. Why are you being so morbid? Why are you being like wishing death upon yourself? I'm not. I'm just facing the reality that
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
the
he's
lone.
just being real about the situation. Yeah.
I'm looking around saying, "Hey, I'm the only one here. I'm the only one left."
Right.
It's a real shocker to me. So let's get back to promoting your shows this weekend. Tomorrow, no, it's tomorrow night, Friday night. Friday
Friday,
night.
the
Friday is
29th.
the dope show. Now the dope show is something you do. It's not like a unique thing. You do the dope show a lot, right?
Yeah, so when I do the dope show is a comedy hip hop event that I do, and I always host the dope show. I like to host that show, and then wherever I'm at, because we scheduled one down here. I want to use local people, like the up and coming local people. I want to highlight them and give them an opportunity to have an audience maybe that they didn't have before. You know what I mean?
Right. So musical guest Night Shield and Crime Spree, sponsored by, and I can't see who they're actually sponsored by, but they a local act up in Sioux Falls?
Yeah. So there are a couple of South Dakota guys. Crime Spree is actually I mean, I know he's a rapper. He's not a comedian, but you might want to have this guy on. This guy is a
Um,
rapper that got COVID and ended up needing a double lung transplant. Like he was up at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota for months.
Holy
Like,
fuck! I
and
didn't
this
even know
dude,
that was possible. Wow, that's insane.
yeah, they did a double lung transplant on him, and he's back at it. He's rapping again. He just dropped an album, I think last month in June. I think he dropped an album. Um, and Night Shield is been in the game he's been doing it, I think, off and on for like 20 years or so. But he's got like a 3-time Native American Rapper Award. And
Well,
yeah,
he's a
no, I'm super,
Native American rapper. I got to get him on too. Come on, get me all these people. And
dude. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna start sending something out to all these people, telling them to get a hold of you. Okay.
yeah,
I'm
and
gonna I'm gonna just send out I'm gonna send out your messenger contact and be like,
yeah,
contact this man.
that's fine. That's good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now,
Yeah, because dude,
Danielle
I know,
Moore.
believe me, bro, I know some rising stars, 100%.
Cool. And you know what? You can come on and co-host it with me too if you want, if you're available for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
that'd be awesome.
so Preston Williams is the headliner, but Danielle Moore is the feature. Tell me about her. Is she a local in South Dakota?
So I actually got her on the show at the recommendation of another producer. She's a Sioux City comic. She's from the Chicago area originally. She just moved from Chicago recently. And she has a kind of a free flowing style. She does a lot of audience interaction, but I have not personally seen her yet. But I've heard a lot of exciting things about her, so I decided to give her a chance and throw her on the show as well.
Wow, good, good. Yeah, I like the fact that you're paying it forward. I like that.
I mean,
Um,
dude, like it's very important to me to like for one, I just want to say clearly I'm taking Greyhound in my show. I have not made it yet. You know what I mean?
I know.
But
Believe me, I'm.
whenever I can help somebody, increase their visibility or up their game in some way, I want to do that. I want, because I believe what Jonathan Nash believed is that if I do what's best for the scene, what's best for comedy, then that's what's best for everyone. That's what I want to do. What's the best thing how can I put on the best show possible?
I agree, and that's good stuff. But I think it's important to recognize that a lot of us, people think, because I got embarrassed the other day by talking about uh, my. I have a private beach here, but it came with the house, and I don't live. People think, oh, I'm bragging about how I got things. I don't have things. I'm not a man of. I don't really care about things. My house is a very humble, very small ranch on a piece of property that rich people decided they wanted to move around. So I live in a wealthy neighborhood, but I am a poor person in a wealthy neighborhood who they want to force me out of here because I'm like, so that I'm very humble.
Yeah, you're the sore mark.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
for since I thought about this thought the other day. For the last 15 years, as long from the day I met my wife, I have been dancing on the knife edge of financial disaster those entire 15 years. And it's because I took on my wife's financial burdens. But so humble and not making it and all that kind of stuff. But I still feel like even though sometimes I don't have fucking pot to piss in, I'm gonna give and give anybody a chance and use anything I do have to help people out, not hoping to get anything in return for it, but as like you said, the more we can help each other grow in make things better for everybody, the better it is for everybody. Everybody will benefit if we have more platforms like this, if we have more shows like you're putting on. The entire scene will grow from that. So
Right.
I'm totally in agreement with you there. I felt like, because somebody heard me say that I have a private beach, and they were like, "Ooh, look at you!" It's like, no, that's not why I'm saying that.
Now, do you chase people off it when they get on it?
No, there are people. I guarantee nobody will go there though. The problem is, stop calling me, damn it. Um, the problem with my beach is it's down. Down is not the problem. It's down 490 feet down through hills, and to get down to the beach, you have to go through this really wooded, dense area to get down to the beach. The problem is getting back up to civilization. You have to come back up that 490 feet up a hill, and unless you're in great shape, that's a fucking trek, man. It will even when I was in like Adonis shape, it had me out of breath and really beat up coming up the hill. And I remember when I got married down on the beach, and my mom was still alive then, and she had to watch from the top of the hill because there was no way anybody could get her down to the bottom and get her back up again. It was like, that's a death sentence. If we get you down there, you're gonna die down. You're gonna die down there because there's no way anybody's getting you back up the hill.
You should anchor a climbing rope to the top of the hill to help you pull yourself up on your way back up.
Yeah. You know what? There are stairs even though, but I built a staircase. There's a whole staircase that goes down there and all that stuff. But it's still because the stairs and there's ramps, and so but 490 feet over a long, steep climb. It's
okay. So you mentioned this stairway on your private beach, and the only thing that pops into my head is Jack Nicholson in Something's Gotta Give, staring at that fucking.
Yeah.
Staring at those stairs after his heart attack.
Yeah. That's basically what
he
it
knows
is.
He's got to climb those stairs before he can go home.
Yeah, it's brutal. I should do a videotape. I'll go down there sometime and videotape me coming up. It's funny to watch because you have to stop every 5 minutes and like,
yeah,
fucking die.
Okay.
Yeah. Tom is in the audience. He says he's got something for you. He says, "Keep banging that mic, Will Conway. Stand hoping I remember what it's like to sleep in our cars if we were lucky. You are obviously funny, and Greyhound is just fine. Make them laugh, baby." Yeah, Tom was there for Doug Stanhope's very first. Uh, that's something not many people can say. No matter who the comic is, if you look at like some of the great stars in comedy, to be there for their very first show, uh, that's got to be a memory that it's just a precious memory. I,
Yeah,
I I can't think of anybody of note that I was ever there for their very first big moment, but first actual time on stage at all, like an open mic or whatever. Cool
right.
stuff. Um, so this weekend, so now that was the dope show, and then the night after that, you're performing. So difference between the hosting job
Yep.
and going up and doing whatever they're going to make you do an hour or whatever. Uh,
Right.
Different mindset going to the show that night.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. So when I host a show, I do my best to be very high energy, almost kind of like the radio announcer guy or whatever, I come really heavy with that. My comedy, especially recently, my comedy style has gotten much more relaxed. I'm just up there doing my thing. You
Right.
know what I mean? But when I host a show, it's very kind of in your face and high energy and probably borderline inappropriate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mike Keefe kind of downplayed it yesterday because I would told him how I was jealous of his life, not just from his comedy stuff, but he's also a history teacher, and I was like, man, and being able to connect with high school students teaching civics and seeing where their mindset at that's something that would really excite me and interest me. But I said I was talking about how envious I was of anybody in stand up comedy. He said, well, it's easy. All you do is go sign up. Anybody can do it. I was like, well, that's not really true. I mean, to me, first of all, you have to have the courage to do it. Now, I know some people have the courage, misplaced courage to do it, but not everybody
Right.
can do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
right. Dean must have be like on a delay or something. He's making a comment about what we were talking about 20 minutes ago. So, straight people born straight, not in my opinion. No, you can talk about science and all that stuff if you want. My opinion is that nobody is born. I think we make a decision to be straight even though we don't know we're making a decision to be straight because the culture comes up that way. What you see portrayed to you, mommy and daddy, boys wear blue, girls wear pink, all that kind of stuff is a subconscious way of conditioning you to believe that that's what you are. I do think, and I'm sorry to go back on this because we talked about this, but I do think at some level we all make a decision to do with our junk whatever, or be attracted to whatever junk we want to be attracted to. But even though we don't know we're making that decision, that's the final word I'm going to say on that because I think we've already covered it. But since he came up with the question, felt like I had to answer that. I don't think straight people are born straight. I don't think gay people are born gay. I think we're all born infants, and the world influences us to believe what we're going to do and who we're going to be, even though we may not even know we made that decision. Like I didn't make a decision to to do most of the things in my life, or I didn't feel like I was making a decision, but I did make a decision, but it didn't feel like it. It felt like I was just doing what came naturally.
Right.
Whatever.
But see, okay, hang on a second. Now you saying you just felt like you were doing what came natural is why they say that they're born that way.
Right, but I'm saying why it felt naturally is because of the conditioning that we allow
Agree.
ourselves to take in.
Agree.
Yeah,
Because yeah, no, I mean I get it. I get, it's this is my question. does it fucking matter if you were born that way or if that's just
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
no, I just came under attack because I made the stupid mistake of talking to somebody who was definitely convinced that we're born that way and
yeah,
compared veganism to being homosexual in comedy. Is it okay to make vegan jokes? Because you're worried about making joke. Now, Norm McDonald made jokes about gay people all his life. And I know gay people who love Norm. He was their favorite comic of all time. They're not offended by it. You're just assuming they're going to be offended by it. So are you saying because are you worried about what vegans think? And all of a sudden, oh, you can't compare veganism to homosexuality. I'm sorry, I went down that path, but now I'm like the devil for saying. My whole point was you got to stop. We got to stop with the comedy policing. I mean, no,
I agree with that. There's way too much of that.
I don't think Norm was a hater. I think he was. He had a unhealthy obsession with gayness that made him want to make jokes about it.
Right.
But again, I think everything anybody does sexually can be made silly and funny. It doesn't have to be gay, straight. Any. I think anything butt plugs should be on the table. Heart butt plug, whatever. No, people should lose their hangups about whatever we're making jokes about and realize none of this shit is a personal attack. It's me expressing what I find funny in the world. Is
Right.
all, yeah.
Right. Dude, that's so me. That's so
Yeah.
me. Like it's like I'm just noticing, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
you what I notice.
Yeah, yeah. And again, coming back to your thing with the Chinese or the Asian accent, it's always not the people who are not gay who are worried about the gay jokes. It's always the people who are not Asian worrying about the Asian accent stuff.
Yeah,
It's always the people who are not involved,
yeah,
disinvolved parties who are just like all upset about you making jokes about things we are worried about the reaction. Well, don't worry about the reaction. Let me handle the reaction. Let me be Don Rickles waiting for people. Nobody ever, and I don't. Don Rickles did what people would consider offensive. He offended everybody, equal opportunity offender, and nobody
yeah.
ever hated on him. I never heard one bit of backlash against him.
Well,
People love,
but I don't think he would have cared either. You know what I mean? He
yeah,
would have just been like, "Go fuck yourself." You know what I mean?
yeah, and just to kind of close up on my thing with Andy Richter, I think I lost so much respect for him because what he said was he stood there next to Norm on the Conan show and accepted it for 15 years or whatever every time Norm was on the show, and only after
And then now says something.
now after he's dead come out and bash the guy and
Yeah,
piss
no,
on his
it's a
grave.
bitch move for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll call it what it is.
Yeah. Gilbert Gottfried roasting George Takei and all gay jokes is hysterical. And Takei loved it. He's absolutely right. That's exactly my point. I mean, if you talk to the people that you think you're offending, you'll find out they're not offended. They get it. It's just being silly. We're all just fucking being silly. That's what it's all about. It's to relieve some of the differences that we have and the tensions that those differences cause without being harmful. So there's two choices here. We can make jokes about people and whatever people do and whoever people are. And listen, I'm not saying make fun of people with disabilities or make fun of people because, or mean spirited stuff, but make fun of people and the human condition for all it's worth. Or we can not do that and see it come out in the ways that we were talking about in the
Right.
subtle hatred or
Yeah.
not so subtle hatred sometimes.
Well, and here's my thing. Um, to me, to me, I'm at least trying to do my part by addressing the fucking issue and
That's
at
right.
least acknowledging that it fucking exists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How many people are out here acting like the shit doesn't even exist?
That's the thing. I think a lot of the people, and this mostly comes from the people who describe themselves as woke, they want to kind of put their heads in the sand and just say, well, we can't joke about it. We can't even acknowledge it. We can't even talk about it.
Yeah.
Talking about it is the healthiest thing we could do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you're never gonna get it to a place of resolution by ignoring the fucking issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom says Takei, pronounced that like gay. George corrects people with that himself. Yeah. So I got his name wrong. Takei, Takei. Whatever. Well, yeah. Thanks for being here today, man. And you saved the show. You're a show saver. Because it would
Oh,
have been me being like a real downer. I
yeah.
was a fucking downer, man. But so make sure those people get in touch with me. All those people we mentioned.
Yes, no, you know what, I will sit and I will send out today. I'll because I got some time today. I can sit and send out some people to contact you because for
Cool. I
sure.
appreciate that. Everybody in the South Dakota, everybody in the entire state of South Dakota, but especially near Sioux Falls, go out to see 2 shows this weekend. The Dope Show. What's the other one called?
It's called On the Rocks, the
On the
On the
Rock.
Rocks Comedy Showcase. That's in Valley Springs. That's a little north of Sioux Falls. That's like an hour north.
And so just go to Williams. You know what? I'm going to put both the flyers on minddogtv.com. But if go find William on Facebook, I'll put his link in the description. You can find him there and everywhere he is. And you'll be able to see the flyers and directions and all the kind of details in that. I hope people come out. I hope you get a good crowd both nights. And I hope it made the trip worthwhile for you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank
Be
you,
well.
man. It's always a pleasure to be on, man.
Yeah, cool. We'll check back with you next week and see how the shows went. If we,
All right, cool.
Cool. Thanks, buddy. Bye. The fabulous William Conway, who is really an Iowan at heart, but now a New Mexican in South Dakota. Anyway, that's my show for you today. Thanks for William for saving the show and making it somewhat of a show because I was on a and my guest Cody Swindell did try to. He made lots of college tries to get good old college tries to get on the program. Device is not working. Listen, not everybody's all that tech savvy. Whatever. People don't always have the best bandwidth. Whatever challenges they have, we try to make do. But he was not able to connect. And sorry about that. I did look forward to getting to meet that young man and find out what his experience in the comedy world is right now, and especially in Austin. I'm always curious about people who make the move. The Mecca of comedy right now is Austin, Texas. I went through that in the music business in the early 90s where everybody was moving to, first it was Nashville and then it was Austin. So I was interested in finding out about that. Maybe we'll reschedule and find out a way to get him on in the future, but I wasn't able to make it today. I appreciate everybody hanging with me and being patient and all that stuff. Tomorrow, Sam Berlin. Play it again, Sam. Sam Berlin, a 21-year-old man, just got out of college. He's a very funny young man, but he also is a cannabis expert. He works in a dispensary and seems to know more about. Speaking of that, let me just say before I get offline here. Yesterday, Sam Berlin will be with me tomorrow. He works in the dispensary. He's a funny guy and he knows all about this stuff. Okay, that's a plug for Sam tomorrow. And he will definitely be here. He knows how to connect. Yesterday, I got this sales email from my dispensary about new product they had and claiming 26% THC. That's a high number especially for the dispensaries I get. When Andy was on about a week ago, he said, I won't even sniff anything unless it's 20%, which to me, my dispensary rarely gets 20%. We're up like 18, 19% is their best product. This stuff is claimed to be 26% THC. It's called the Highwaymen, named after Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, and Johnny Cash. This is supposed to from the botanist. The Highwaymen flower blend. This is a sativa, 26%. Tried it out yesterday. Very good stuff. But just thought I'd give that a plug because I don't get much stuff that is this powerful, 26%. Now, I don't know if that's real, because I've smoked without paying attention to that number and gotten stuff from the dispensary and found out later when I did my research it claimed to have 6%, but I thought it was good stuff. The problem with this whole legalization stuff, and I love that it's legal now, we still don't have recreational dispensaries here. The problem is you find something that you think you become a fan of, and like a brand that you like, and then because I did last week, I found some stuff that I really liked from them, and I wanted to go back and get it, and they didn't have it. It's not consistent. It's not like with cigarettes. Marlboro is always the same thing, and you know your store's always going to have Marlboro. I'm not promoting cigarettes, smoking tobacco here, just making a comparison. You always know your brand's going to be there. In a liquor store, you know what you like. It's always going to be the same. Jim Beam is always going to be Jim Beam. It's not the same with weed yet. You basically have what's on the menu this week, and the menu's going to change next week. So the stuff that you find and you say, wow, this is really good, I'm going to stick with this, and then you go back and they don't have it. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Tonight, you're into psychic stuff and paranormal stuff. I'm going back this way. Scarlett Parretta is my guest tonight. She's a psychic medium. As I mentioned, psychics never come in small or large. They only come in medium. Because the Atlantis stuff is fucking killing. The Atlantis video is and audio downloads of the Atlantis interview that I did with David Edward a week ago. Just over 1 million downloads. 1 million downloads on one fucking episode. Compare that to a comedy interview that might get 5,000 to 10,000 downloads. 1 million on the Atlantis stuff. People are interested. And part of, and this is something because I have a friend who just wants to rehash his old content that he produced 25 years ago. And he asked me why his YouTube channel isn't growing. I said, well, you got to give people what they want, not what you want to give them. And he said he can't do that. He's got to continue to do what he does because he only likes what he likes, and he's going to try to force people to like what he's delivering them. And that's not the way the digital world of content creation works. You have to find an audience, find out what they want, and deliver them what they want. Clearly, people want the paranormal stuff. People love the Atlantis stuff. The fucking stuff is going off the fucking charts again. It's like hotcakes, man. Get your Atlantis stuff. So I'm going back down the paranormal, the parascience rabbit hole for a while. I'm going to get more of those guests on the evening show because there's demand for it, not because I want it. The Atlantis stuff I was definitely interested in. Tonight will be all things paranormal with Scarlett Parretta, 8 p.m. Mind Dog TV. Hope you'll join me then. Hope you like it. Hope you stick around and give me your thoughts and feedback. And this is why I'm asking, who you want to see on this program. My intent is not to just do a show that I want to do, but do a show that you want to listen to, you want to watch, you want to be part of. So let me know, info@minddogtv.com, info@minddogtv.com. I've been talking a long time today. I'm going to say goodbye now. I'm going to sign off and remind you to always remember to turn on your radio. Bye for now.
I to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.